So today we are going to learn from an award-winning event and marketing manager. So excited to have her on today. And it's just you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot. She's got a great journey that she's going to share some of this with us. We're going to learn about sourcing. So if you're a marketing and event planner, you're in the right place today. Proud to have on Laura Woods. Laura, welcome to Trade Show University.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for having me, and happy Halloween.
Yeah, we were recording this on Halloween today.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me in Cleveland, Ohio, we were just talking before we got started. It is absolutely gorgeous today. It's like mid 70s and sunny, very unseasonable, but I'm sure it'll be changing in a hurry. Yeah. But Laura's used to that because she's out in San Diego. So beautiful San Diego, one of my favorite cities. My very first one of my first trade shows was in San Diego, and I fell in love with that whole city. It's just amazing. But Laura, why don't you tell people, give a little bit of background? I said award winning, so tell them a little bit about your award and what you're currently doing at Jameis.
Sure. So I recently won the Rising Star Award at the Smart Women's in Meetings Summit. I was blessed enough to meet so many fellow women in the industry and get to know them. And it's just amazing to be able to be recognized for the work that you've done, especially since I've had a shorter time in this industry. I went to college for marketing, originally got into school for radio, TV, and film.
Ah,
So brought that over into my, marketing degree and everything. And at Jameis Software, I was blessed enough to be asked, would you like to do events? And I said, you know what? I am up for that challenge. You give it to me and I will do it. So I do about 50 sponsored events a year with Jameis Software. So that varies between trade shows, we have a booth, or we're doing, networking receptions in different cities across the United States. And then every 18 months, we have our Jameis Summit, which we just finished up with about 2 weeks ago in Frisco, Texas, which was an incredible outcome. And it's just been a blessing to be able to love what you do every day. It's been incredible, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds in this industry, especially connecting with so many like-minded people through LinkedIn and networking events. It's really helped me continue on with my, event planning journey. So it's been incredible. So I really appreciate everyone at Smart Meetings for the recognition, and hope to continue for some of those other awards that they might be putting out for next year.
absolutely. That's awesome. My goodness, 50 a year, 50 a year that you're doing. That is no small task. I don't care
Yeah,
if they're even little ones. All of them are great details that you have to
correct.
pull together, and especially it's one thing to exhibit, it's another thing to pull together something like you said, the Jameis Summit, which I'm sure you were you were overseeing probably a lot of that. So tell us, when you're planning one of these big events like the Jameis or even a smaller event where you're the one in charge, what's the process that you go through, and what are some things that you've really learned that have helped you along the way?
So when we're doing some of these smaller events, say a networking reception or a dinner after, tagged on to like a big conference that we might be expoing at, I really take a look at, okay, what does the schedule look like for other attendees? And what is the goal of this event? What are we trying to do out of this event? Like we have to have a theme, we have to have the right connections with people, and making sure that this event is worth their time. So that goes into the strategic background of planning these events, I would say, is making sure that you understand what your goal is in the end. Because if you don't have a clear goal, the event is not going to run smoothly. So that's the kind of take I do with the smaller events. But with the Jameis Summit, it's a long process. You start, 18 months ahead of time. You're sourcing, you're trying to find what is the best location, especially when attendees are coming from all across the United States. We want to make it easy for them to travel to this location, and they're not having to take multiple flights, because that's a big thing too. They get there and they're tired, and that's when the event starts. You're on it immediately. You have welcome receptions. You have, your keynote speakers the next day and such. So it's a long process, but I definitely do take the time to reach out to our event planning community and ask what is working for them, like what is working in the conferences that they've done, because you can't do this alone. You have to use your resources, you have to use your intuition, and you have to also use, surveys and stuff like that to make sure that you're presenting an event that is worthwhile to your attendees. We don't want them just coming to this event and, okay, the Monday night party, woo, so fun. Like, obviously it's always going to be a great time, but them getting the knowledge to elevate their careers, especially in our industry. There's a lot of accountants, and they have to get their CPE accreditation, just like as event planners have to, get our CLEs and everything. So you have to really make sure, like, what are we putting together that is worthwhile for our attendees to get the most out of every moment of this, event.
You hit on so many of highlights there. I'm taking notes as you're talking, because a lot of the stuff that you say are things that I work with my clients on an exhibitor side, but from
Yeah,
a meeting planner side, so good. Number one, hitting those goals, or make sure you have the goals set. So many companies I work with, they don't have proper goals, or they have one little goal set, and then they don't even keep track if they hit it or not. So we want to make sure we have those goals, setting the theme, making sure connections is part of it. That's huge.
absolutely.
It's about
Networking is 10 out of 10. I'm going to say this. And even just now, when we've just done this JMIS Summit, the surveys that we're getting back is they were so happy with having those opportunities to network with other people that are using our software. And they're like, okay, I need to know the tips and tricks that you're using, because, in our industry, yes, we develop the software and we're putting it out, but it's the users that tell us how they're, tweaking it to make it work for them. So having that networking, and that's what I learned at Smart Meetings as well, like those networking times, the me time, so powerful. And I think that a lot of meeting planners skip over that sometimes, and they just have such a full schedule
mm,
that people are overwhelmed. They're like, oh my gosh, like this has been back to back to back. You have to have that time, but you have to also set it up with those icebreaker questions, get people together and start those conversations, because people are shy and they might not know anyone.
right.
And, us event planners are usually a little bit more outgoing. So we're like, it's fine, but not everybody is like us. You have to make sure that those connections are happening. That's the lifeline of events, is the connections and the networking. It really is.
Yeah, so good. The orchestration, like you said, the orchestration, having those questions, to those icebreakers. For me, I'm an extreme introvert. When I'm with people, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And people are like, "You're not an introvert." Yeah, I am. But give it, if I'm in a new group of people, you need to help me to make things happen, make those connections
Yeah.
happen. And so, as for you event planners that are listening or watching this, make sure you're orchestrating that, you're making these connections happen in a very natural way, an organic way. But you got to pull people in, because a lot of these folks might not be comfortable, and you want
Yeah.
to make sure that you're making things happen, and showing those positivity of, hey, you are talking with other people who are users of our software, or if it's that kind of an event, or find their commonalities and bring them
Yeah.
together, have them start dialoguing on things, and make those. There's so many people that I've met at a trade show originally that I've stayed in touch with over the years,
Yeah.
and that could be a very, very important contact that you have for such a long time. So
Of course.
I am
You can
glad
get
that you say
creative
that.
with it. you can get creative with it, whether it
Yeah.
be, PC name tags, little ribbons like I love cats, like just icebreakers like that. And those, it doesn't have to be pertained to what the theme of the event is per se. Getting people speaking in commonalities is really great. Or a icebreaker scavenger hunt. The Hyatt. I went to an event with them, and they had that, and it encouraged you to go talk to everyone and find out information, and you filled it out and turned it in for a prize. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be, you know, straighten your tie, like, whatever it is. It could just be a game. It could be fun. Like, everybody likes it like that. It's same as if you go to a party, you need that kind of fun.
You do. We're people. We're people.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, we're there to do business, absolutely. But the more fun and the more human we can make those interactions, make the entire experience, they're going to take more away from it. And they're going to have just an overall positivity when they leave, going, that was fantastic. What are you guys doing this again? What, do I have
Yeah.
to wait 18 months for this again? And I'm sure you probably get some of those comments, which leads me to the next thing that I love that you said, and you focusing on surveys. Focus on reaching out to people that you do it obviously after the event. Do you do surveys before the event to find out
We
what are you
do.
looking for? Oh,
Yes, we do. We send out surveys because what we do at JMIS Software is we do have a town hall virtual event every 6 months. So that way it's in between our large in-person event. And we always are doing surveys and sending that out in our customer newsletters, encouraging them to, what would you like to see? What courses would you like to see? What content would you like to see on the main stage? What do you want? Because that's what we're here for, is to cater to you. Because the JMIS Summit is not only, a learning experience for our customers, but it's a customer retention event where we're making sure that we're making those connections, that we stay connected to every individual that reaches out to our support team and such. So it's important for us to make sure that the next JMIS Summit is, even better, elevated over the next one by ensuring that we're putting the proper courses, the proper content out there for them. And we take it very seriously and always listen to every single ounce of feedback, may be small or large, whether it be the food, the temperature of the rooms, nothing is out of bounds. I want to hear about it. And that's something also you need to, as an event planner, never take anything to heart of what you get back from these surveys. You need to learn that, hey, they're taking the time to do these surveys, and we need to take their input and put it towards the next one. It's nothing against anything. Everyone is different, but you take that feedback and you run with it. And that's what you have to do in this industry.
perception is everything. And whether or not, there may be one or two people, or maybe everybody that was there, uh, saw one part of it as that really didn't work, and you and your team were probably like, what, are you kidding me, that was like the best
Mhm.
part, and that's what we put
Yeah.
most of our time and energy. But it's about your customers, it's about those you're serving who are attending. So I love the fact that you did this ahead of time. In my experience, that's rare. That not many businesses, not many organizers will survey ahead of time. A lot survey afterwards. How did it go? Which is great. We need to be doing
Yeah.
that. But between now and the next event, so many changes could happen in the industry
Yeah.
with that company, what their needs are, what they're looking for. And if you're just relying on what they felt like after as they came out of there, you could possibly be missing out on a great opportunity to really hit them where they're at with this next upcoming event. So
You'll
just
be able to
fantastic stuff.
expand your attendee attendance, kind of thing, because if you ask what you're looking for in an event, you could grab people that maybe have never been to this event before because they never saw purpose for them. Maybe the courses weren't tailored to their job role. and we've listened and wow, okay, we didn't realize that. That's going to make your attendance, skyrocket. And that's very important, in these events, attendee satisfaction, and also those numbers of how many attendees or how many different companies are represented at that event. Because at JMIS, we really care about how many, we say, logos are there, because we want the most representation from our customer base to be at that event so they can learn and they can, bring that information back to their colleagues.
Outstanding. Hey, I want to go back on something that you mentioned earlier. You mentioned that you had your event in Frisco, Texas, which
Mm-hmm.
Frisco, when if I were to name out the top 20 markets where I would think a trade show or a conference would be held, Frisco probably would not be in the top 20. So I want to find out, how do you source? How do you find that location? What is your strategy, and how did you come upon Frisco, Texas as a location for your big event?
So number one, I always take a look at the registrants from the year previous, see where, they're located, because I want to make it easy for people to come out. And in the past, we would do one West Coast, one East Coast, one West Coast, one East Coast kind of thing. And then I said, why don't we do something in the middle? So my focus was on Texas. And I do have my mentor. Her name is Cindy Chateau from Conference Direct. So she has, definitely taken me under her wing the past 3.5 years and showed me, the best sourcing tactics possible. And we went and we saw 7 or 8 different places in Texas. And when I have an event, I want there to be culture. I want there to be history around. I want it to be somewhere you're excited to go to. Like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go there, but I haven't just had the opportunity yet. But there's a conference going to be there, and I could learn too. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. So that's the kind of mentality I go for. Is like, where is somewhere that is either really popular, or maybe it's on the back burner and nobody really knows about it, because the hotel that we had the JMIS Summit at, the Omni Frisco at the Star, and I must shout them out, 10 out of 10, the best customer service, food, everything I've ever had at a conference. Our CSM Khalid was amazing. But it's attached to the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. So I'm like,
Ah,
ooh, a theme.
there you go.
And we are Jameis Prime ERP. And in the football world, you know that Monday Night Football is prime time, and that's what we call it. So I was like, perfect. This is easy to theme something around. So, you got to get creative and you have a theme of it. In 2023, we had it in San Diego and Coronado, and the new Top Gun had just come out, so made sure to have that Top Gun theme and have the Tom Cruise look-alike come over to our night event. And I must say, Jerome is great. Like, I got goosebumps. I thought he was the real Tom Cruise. He is excellent. If any of you guys are looking for a great person to elevate your events and take pictures, he is amazing. He is the real California Tom Cruise online. So it was just great, but you have to theme your events. So the sourcing does help with that. But honestly, as a major takeaway is you need to make sure you have enough space and hotel rooms. So that's a major thing that not a lot of people think about when they're sourcing. Am I going to have enough room in the ballroom? Am I going to have enough hotel rooms for all these guests? Because you can look at the year before and say, okay, we had 255 attendees. We can make an assumption about what we'll get for this next time, but that's not always correct. And then you want to make sure that there's enough space and rooms for your guests. What kind of services do these hotels provide you, or these conference centers provide you, to elevate your attendee experience at these events? Because at the end of the day, yes, they'll go home with some learning, but they're going to talk about the venue more than anything. So just ensuring that it's a great location that would be easy to get to, not too far from the airport, as well as that customer service and where your attendees are normally traveling from, I think is a major thing that you should always pay attention to. And that goes back to the surveys. Like, we ask our attendees, where would you like to see this event in the future? Give us some ideas. So we just want to make our attendees happy and excited, but you definitely need to make it exciting and kind of go from there.
Now you know why she was awarded a rising star. So this is fantastic. And I love it because you're focusing 100% on your customers and you're understanding the venue means so much. Like I said, just because someone says, "Oh yeah, we have a ballroom that holds 250," doesn't mean that there will
Yep.
be extra space for people to get up and mingle and network and things
Correct.
like that. It might be pretty tight, pretty cramped. And if you have
Ceiling
other,
height, you take that into
yes,
consideration. It looks, because in photography, when you're marketing this in the future, if it looks squished, that's something that you have to look at too. And how many breakout spaces do they have? Or is it in a room with no windows? Because when people are attending these events, they're in these courses for like 8 hours a day. They want to see some sunshine, you know, they want to feel something. So that's also another thing we take into consideration with these kind of events, you know?
absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much. And just one little thing can make or break someone's
Absolutely.
experience. Yeah, they may have had the most fantastic time with you, have learned so much, but oh my gosh, it was so hot in that room.
Yeah.
And that's the
And
first
that's
thing
what
they're
they
going to
think
tell
about.
everybody. Or the food was horrible or this or that. And you're like, well, wait, what about all that other great stuff? But you know,
Yeah.
you have to be so on point with the people that you're working with at the venue, and if they're responsive, you want to be able to tell other people, hey, it was 10 out of 10, best
Yep.
event ever, the best location we've ever had. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing some of your strategy, what steps you go through. Everyone probably learned quite a bit. I know I did. And I love the fact that you're not bringing people out every 6 months, but you're doing that town hall.
Hmm.
That's a great way to get people to re-engage. They can do some learning. Maybe there's some networking opportunities there as well. That's outstanding way
Yeah.
to do to
People tend to
fill the
forget
gap.
that virtual events count too. You know,
Yeah.
that's the new day and age after COVID, and you know, especially. But those people that might not have the budget to come out, they still get the same type of experience from that knowledge base portion.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So as we wrap up here, you've shared so many great tips. If there's one or two key takeaways you want people to take from our conversation, what would you want those to be?
I would just say never really give up. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you studied this in school. If you're an event planner that, you know, doesn't have that much experience, use your networking. Go out, meet people. Don't be afraid to do something new. Like I said, I didn't go to college for this. I have my marketing degree and I did a little bit of events in college, but don't give up, honestly. Like, you got this. And just, even if someone says when you're planning, "Oh, I don't think that's going to be good," who cares? You do it. You just do it, because so many times I've had people come back to me and be like, "Whoa, that was actually really cool." Like, trust yourself. That is definitely it. And, you know, just always take a deep breath. Event planning is very stressful. A lot of people just think it's, oh, you're just like a party planner. No, there's a lot that goes into this. So always give yourself a little break too, and just keep on going, guys. Like, honestly, you got this. Like, that's the number one takeaway of this. And you can always learn more. So always keep your mind open for continued learning.
Tremendous advice for all of us. Keep going. Use that network. That's probably my biggest thing, that I've had so many opportunities come from people that I've networked with, and that's where we
Absolutely.
get so much knowledge and network and opportunities through networking. Thank you so much. If people wanted to reach out and connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Laura Woods on LinkedIn, or you can shoot me an email at lwoods@jamis.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. that any of you guys have, and would be happy to connect on LinkedIn to expand that network.
Awesome. And check the description or the show notes, and we'll make sure we have links to all of Laura's connection points. And Laura, thank you so much. This has been just an absolute delight to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations on the Rising Star Award. I
Thank
know there's
you.
great things in the future for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today, Jim. And I'm looking forward to keeping our connection going and watching and listening to more of your amazing podcasts.
Absolutely. And thank you for your kind words. And everyone, keep binging, get to know, get to network. And I've had so many amazing guests. Get to know them, connect with them. All of them are so in this industry, it's the people. People are just fantastic and they're willing to open their arms and have you learn with them. So keep binging and keep coming back here to Trade Shoe University. We'll see you next time.